jumping over to share my screen with you. Okay. I hope that you can hear me now. I hope that we're live on Unlock Your Creativity. I had a little technical difficulties there, so hope you're still here. Thank you for staying. Again, my name's Andrea, and we've already kind of moved through slides without you, but hopefully you're here with me now. I'm talking about why you're here. If you've showed up, you're really here to open your mind to more creativity, some genius ideas. You're here to rediscover and reawaken your creative talents and gifts. You might be here if you want to create clarity about your mission, your message, or your purpose. It might be because you really want to put into place daily actions to cultivate a creative life, but you're not sure where to start, how to do that. And one of these 5 keys is for you, so stay here. You might be here because you want to courageously share your creativity with the world, and I love that. And we're going to jump right in. And unlike some of the webinars that are out here, I'm always about doing your work, right? And immediately we're going to spark your creativity. And I am going to open it up to a Q&A at the end of the call. You can email me your questions as they come, or at andrea@inspiremetobe.com. Or we're going to see if we can get you to chat and put in those questions and get those over to me. So we're going to jump right in and get to work. Okay. So a little bit about me. I am a serial entrepreneur, and in fact, I really wanted to jump over, and I hope you can stay with me for a second. And maybe you've been, I'm going to see if we can you see me? I hope that you can see me. I really wanted you to see me. I wish I could see you, and tell you about who I am. You know, when I think about my gifts and my talents, I kind of label myself as a serial entrepreneur. And I just love creating new ideas. I have a PR and marketing background, and a couple years ago, I've been coaching with this coach. She's amazing, and she kept getting so frustrated with me because she wanted me to choose one idea and stay with that idea. And it's actually a pretty smart business coaching, right? Stick with one idea, follow through. But I could feel my creative juices just soaking out of me. And for me, it kind of felt like my life was draining out of me. I just wanted to keep coming up with ideas. And, it was really within a mastermind of awesome entrepreneurs that kind of brought to light to me, when I was sharing with them, I was giving them my ideas, and I would get all fired up and excited again when I was helping them come up with content or business strategies. And I finally said, Andrea, that's what you need to be doing. Like, stop coming up with all these different ideas for your business. How about your business be coming up with new ideas for us in our business? And so that's what I started to do. And I really kind of tuned in and brought my energy into keeping my creative juices flowing by helping other people with their ideas. And so I just want to tell you kind of that's where I've created my business. I am the founder of InspireMeToBe.com, and I really love to inspire other people and help people turn their purpose into profits, or however you want to talk about it. I love to be creative and keep my creative juices flowing. So that's just a little bit about me. And I'm going to jump over back to our slides. Sorry, I'm just kind of wiggling this around. I wanted to be behind my piano because I have a little story about this piano that I'm going to share with you. So keep it in picture in your mind when I tell my story. Okay, so I'm popping back over to our slides here. Bear with me. Okay. All right, here we go, you guys. All right, let's get to work. Okay, so I want you to write down a time in your life. So just thinking about it, where you felt you had really unlocked your creativity. So let's take a couple breaths if you need to. Shut your eyes and really think about when in your life did you feel alive with creativity? When I described it, that creative juices were flowing and you really felt that alive feeling. Okay. So write it down. Okay. So that's part of the work. Get your pen and paper out, write it down. When was there a time in your life where you felt you had unlocked your creativity? Now, how did you feel? Right? I described it as feeling alive, but in your own words, write it down. How did you feel during that time in your life? All right. The next question. Do you want to feel that way again? And how often? Do you just want it to pop up every once in a while? Or are you wanting to feel that way on a daily basis? Write it down. Okay, today we're going to go over the 5 keys to unlock your creativity. And here I'm just going to name them, then we're going to jump in and really dive deep. And when I talk about diving deep, you know, I've really, and if you've been following me and reading some of the newsletters I've sent out, this idea of creativity has really been on my mind constantly over the last 30 days. And I've wanted to really dive into the how, right? And so when I've created and thought about what are the keys to really unlock this creativity, this energy around and how to really inspire you, I've been asking that question, how, and have come up with these 5 keys. So just kind of background around that. So key number 1, recognize resistance. So that's the first key that we're going to talk about. The next one is cultivate courage. Okay, so you know where I'm going there. Key number 3, exercise experience. And key number 4, cross-contaminate creativity. And the last key is believe what's in that box. And we're going to dive into what that really means. And we're going to jump right into our key number 1, recognize resistance. Okay, so I didn't really understand this idea of resistance until I read a book called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. Now, this, idea of resistance really to me is, and I guess really the way he describes resistance is this idea of it being this destructive force, I guess, right? That's really stopping us from doing what we are called to do, doing something really good, whether that's art or creativity or something else, right? Something comes in the way and stops us from being able to perform that. And I love that he really opened my eyes to this direct correlation, right? The stronger the resistance, there's actually the more powerful it is our calling to do that action, right? So, if there's no resistance, then, it's easy to do, then, that's fine. But when you really start to feel the heavy resistance come in, you know that action is going to be doing some good. That action is important. And so the number 1 key I thought of really unlocking our creativity is to recognize the resistance that's coming up in your life that's stopping you from unlocking that creativity. That's really your, whether it's, I call it your purpose, but it's really something that will fulfill you in your life and most likely really be a powerful, good force in other people's lives as well. So let's talk about some of these forms of resistance. Procrastination. Okay, one of the most famous resistances that come up for us is just putting stuff off. Okay, we get that, but do you really recognize it when it comes, or do you see the power in it and why it's stopping you? Okay, self-sabotage. That's sometimes, some of you are saying yes when you really understand that. Some people might not even understand what that means, is that we get in our own way. for some reason, we stop ourselves or we start to sabotage our staying on track or opening that door to creativity or taking the steps to move forward for whatever reason. Self-doubt, of course, comes up when we start to create. So is that a resistance? And can you start to name that resistance? Okay, time. We love that. That's one of the beautiful excuses. We don't have enough time. That's absolutely resistance. Guilt, right? We feel guilty for taking the time to create. Okay, distraction. Is that the resistance that's coming up for you? Do you keep getting distracted on for whatever reason? And you might need to name that distraction as well, right? It could be blame. Take a moment. I want you to write down to me, write down for you the resistance that keeps coming up when you are trying to create. Now, you might not be able to recognize or name it yet, but I can promise you when you start to work on creating, it's going to come up. And I want you to get good at recognizing that resistance and naming it. Okay, here's a wonderful quote that I love from Steven Pressfield. Do the work is the weapon against resistance. I love that. That's so what I'm all about, is doing your work. The most important thing about art is to work. Nothing else matters except sitting down every day and trying. And I love that. I'm going to say it one more time. The most important thing about art is to work. Nothing else matters except sitting down every day and trying. And I love that. And I really hope that you can get that. Now, my 4 steps really here to move from resistance to work, right, is to, of course, recognize it, to name the resistance, to come up with a plan, and then do your work. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. I had a slide and my computer kind of crashed, so it just the latest version didn't come up. But the 4 steps are: recognize the resistance, name it, okay, make a plan, and do your work. So for example, let's talk about it. Time management. If that's coming up for you, right? You don't have the time, then what do we need to do? We recognize it, then we create the plan. How do we carve out time for you to create? Do we set the clock an hour earlier? Do we put it on our calendar? Distraction, blame. We can start to dive in. You know, if blame is coming up, we're blaming ourselves or blaming, let's say, our kids. I know sometimes as a mom, right, we love to blame our kids. Oh, I'll create. It's my kid's fault. I can't. I'm too busy, right? I mean, to really create what I want in life and be the creative and live that life full of what I describe as being alive, right? Do we really want to blame our kids for not living a creative life? So we need to look at that, come up with a plan, right? And then get to work. Okay, so this I wanted to share with you is a piece of art from my uncle, who is an amazing, amazing artist. And I just wanted to show this to you because, one, I just love his work. But also he is a true example of an artist who does his work. He woke up, and I don't know if he still is, but for I think 10 years, I don't know, could be more years, he woke up every morning at 2 a.m., went into his garage and did his work. You know, when we ask artists, you know, were you just inspired? In fact, there's a funny quote in this book by Steven Pressfield. You know, he asked this amazing writer, he said, oh, do you just, you know, when does the inspiration come? Are you so inspired? And he said, yeah, it comes every morning at 9 a.m. when I sit down and do my work. And so I really want you to get this idea that when the resistance comes, we show up and we just create. We find the time, we create the space, and we allow that inspiration to come when we sit down and work. Okay. Key number 2 is to cultivate courage. Now, we know when we create, the fear comes up, right? And I was talking to my son, in fact, just a couple days ago. We were having this conversation about him being scared to do something. And, we got to have that great conversation with him when we talked about, courage, right? All the heroes that you love, and don't you want to be have courage? And he said, oh yeah, I want to be courageous. I want to have courage. And he said, and we were trying to describe that you cannot be courageous. You cannot have courage unless you're afraid, right? Unless there was fear with you, you could not be courageous and have courage. And, I loved seeing his little innocent face really light up when we were able to describe that. And we all know that. But I love this idea and reminding us that fear is with us. And, I've had listened to people who say, oh, we need to break out of fear. But fear really is going to be with us, especially when we create, especially when we start to create something and put it out into the world and let other people see it, right? So I loved and I've already told you how much I just admire Elizabeth Gilbert and love her book that just came out called Big Magic. And she describes it beautifully. She really takes this paragraph to talk about how she's inviting fear to come along on a road trip with her, that fear is always with her when she creates. And here's a quote from her: "Dearest fear, creativity and I are about to go on a road trip together. I understand you'll be joining us because you always do." And I think that's fantastic. And she goes on to describe that that she would never, ever let fear drive, right? He can be in the back seat, but he's never, ever going to take the wheel and drive because she's always going to call the shots. She's going to, with her creativity in the front seat, decide which way to go and which road to take, when to turn, and when she's going to stop and when she's going to go. So I just want you to think about it, and I want you to take a moment and answer this question: are you letting fear drive your life? And I want you to write it down, yes or no. And then I want you to really think about how you can invite fear to come with you as you start to create, and have that courage and cultivate that courage to join you. Okay, I just want you to ponder that for a moment while I go get my battery, because I just realized my computer is about to. Okay, you guys, I'm back. Sorry. All right. What are you afraid of when you create? Sorry, that was my next question. What are you afraid of when you create? So just start to list it, right? Start to list the fears that come up for you. Are you afraid of what people think? Are you afraid that you're not good enough? Are you afraid that people might judge you? Or I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but just think about what are the fears that come up? Are you afraid to be seen? Are you afraid what your mother is going to think? Are you afraid? I don't know, fill it in. Okay, next question. What would you create if your fear was strapped in the back seat? So sorry about typo. What would you create if your fear was strapped in the back seat? So thinking about that, what would you create if you had all of the courage, if all those fears were just along for the ride instead of driving you? Would you paint? Would you make music? Would you draw? Would you dance? What do you want to create? Would you want to create a business? Because there's no fear of failure. What is it that you want to create? And I'm going to give you one more quote. Remember one rule of thumb. The more scared we are of a work or a calling, the more sure we can be that we have to do it. I think that's so powerful, right? The scarier it is, the more we just have to do it. And that's why you're here today. You're here to move past it, to really tap into that creativity and make it happen. And so we're just going to move right on into exercise experience key number 3. Now, there's 2 words here that I'm going to kind of take away, and I put them together, but and I'll tell you why. Oh, I hear that you're just seeing me and not my really cool slides. Oh no. Okay. Sorry guys, you're looking at me reading my slides instead of seeing my slides. I'm going to try this one more time. Okay. I'm going to just jump over here. Sorry for the technical difficulties here, you guys. Okay. All right. Can you see my slides now? Are you able to see my slides now, guys? Okay. Well, I'll wait to hear. Maybe you still see me. I have some great slides for you. I wish you were following along. Okay. Exercise experience. So one, you think about exercising and what it really takes, right? So activating, I use that word because I think activating your creativity really is like exercising and training for a race. It takes constant strengthening and practice, perseverance, right? And persistence. So that's why I felt like that word exercise is so important. And the word experience, right? So that really encompasses every day we're creating new experiences. And are we allowing those experiences to really cultivate our creativity and help us to live that creative life? Okay. So it sounds like you can now see my slides. So I'm sorry you haven't been seeing them. You've only been seeing me reading my slides. Okay, so the 5 S tips to exercise. So here we go. We're going to go through them. The first one is simply say yes. Okay, so last Friday, I'm kind of new to my area. I've been here about a year, so I'm just barely making new friends. And I got invited to go out into the city and go on a little art walk and go out to dinner with some girlfriends. And I had had a long, busy day. As you might know, I've been traveling a lot, and I just kind of felt like I wanted to stay home in my fuzzy jammies and do nothing. And so in the morning, I kind of text back and said, you know what, I'm gonna bow out, right? I'm gonna stay in my jammies all day. And then it came in the evening and my husband was saying, oh, you really should go. You really should go. And then, you know, I text her back, and it was funny because my text didn't even go to her. It was completely like, she got it, but it was completely gibberish, which was kind of funny. So she's like, you're coming, right? And I said, you know what? Yes, I'm just going to come. And I got all ready and I went out, and it was so wonderful we went out and looked at pieces of art. We went to, you know, they had the art walks. They had all these art studios open, and it was so inspiring, especially because I had already told you I was doing this webinar, and, you know, it was such a lesson to me to just say yes, right? We sat, and I have new friends, and we were able to talk and share and inspire each other. And I just loved being them. And I think it takes to exercise our experience, to really spark our creativity, is to say yes. Say yes to new opportunities, to say yes to new experiences, especially when they're a little bit out of our comfort zone. So simply say yes. That's my first tip to really jump into that creative life that we want to live. Okay, seek knowledge. So this one is obviously, if we're trying to be creative, or if we're trying to expand our expertise or our knowledge. For example, if you love dancing and that's where you love and want to express your creativity, then it's great to just dance in your living room, but wouldn't it be great to start to go to a class, start to learn from other people, go on YouTube and learn some moves. So seeking knowledge is absolutely a way to spark our creativity. If you kind of have dabbled in painting, then you might want to really, sign up for a class. Obviously, I don't need to tell you over and over again, but think about maybe something that you used to do when you were a child, right? That to really spark that creativity. Take a class, learn something. You might realize, oh, I'm not really into that anymore, or you might really remember how much you love to create in that way or in a new way. Okay, strengthen with practice. This is what I talked about, exercise. We need to practice creativity. So this is something that gets stronger. It's something that when we choose every day to bring it into our life or to practice living that way, we get stronger. It becomes easier for us. We tap into it on a daily basis. We start to know what works for us to really open that intuition and work that side of our brain. Just like anything, it's a muscle. We need to practice and strengthen it. So that is my third S. The last one is surround yourself. So surround yourself with what inspires you. Surround yourself with art on the wall. Surround yourself. I talked to you about my piano. You saw it because you weren't seeing my slides, so you're looking at my piano the whole time. So my husband and I bought this piano when we were first married in Pennsylvania. And it's heavy, it's old. And we carried this piano and we have moved at least 13 times. And we have lugged this heavy, heavy piano everywhere we went. Well, the last time we moved, we left it. Well, our U-Haul was full and it wouldn't fit. No room for the piano. So we left it in the storage unit. And it came down to it, you know what? We're done. We do not want to move that piano one more time. So I actually put it on Craigslist in California and said, free piano. Anyone who wants this piano, just pick it up. I'm done moving this piano. And no one wanted it. No one wanted my wonderful piano. So we drove to California, we got a U-Haul, and we brought it here with us to Utah one more time. And I can't tell you how grateful every single day that I have this piano, because it's in my living room, and my 8-year-old son, who I was really trying to get to do piano, and we had another keyboard we'd set up, but he has this piano. It's right in the living room, and he plays it every single day. Every morning he wakes up, he now songwrites and he sings and he plays constantly. And what a powerful way to tap into his creativity was to surround him with the tools. And you can probably have seen, we have a guitar out, we have some drums out, we leave them out to surround ourselves. So whenever we feel like it, we can sit down and tap into that creativity and inspire that creativity in my children and in my husband, who's a musician. And so that is our tip number 4. The last one is number 5 is say yes again. I think I put that on there again because I have to remind myself to say yes, right? Go create some experiences, be out in nature. Maybe that's what will inspire you. Go to where they're playing live music and get up and dance. Whatever it is, tap into that inspiration. I am going to go back really quickly because you didn't get to see my uncle's artwork. And so I wanted to show you, now that you can see my slides, this piece of art by my uncle, Carl Dahl. And so There it is. I don't need to go over everything again, but I just wanted you to see a visual since you missed that. Isn't it lovely? Okay. All right, key number 4, cross-contaminate creativity. So when I was really thinking about how, if you were really stuck, right, in getting the creative juices flowing. In fact, it just came to mind that, let me go back to that. Okay, so how do we get you unlocked? How do we unlock that creativity, right? Like if you're an artist, how do we unlock it if you're just don't feel like painting anymore? Well, there's my suggestion, my how-to is to do something else, right? Go take a music class, go take a dance class, start to write in your journal, start to write how you're feeling, your emotions, things that come up if you want to art, and then come back to the easel, come back to your drawings and see what has inspired you. So when I talk about cross-contaminate, I really think that we need to awaken other parts of our creativity. So for example, when my creativity, what I do is coming up with ideas, right? And so when I work with a client, I really want to be in that creative mindset. And so sometimes I don't feel creative. So I might have to meditate and just really create that space and open it up. I might have to sit down on the piano and just play the best I can, or to sing, or I really love moving. Movement for me really sparks my creativity. When I turn on some music and I can just move my body, that allows my creative juices to flow. And also, you know, if you're a writer, when you have writer's block, get up and move, paint something. You know, I love one of my dear colleagues. She, you know, we were talking about tapping into the feminine energy, right, of owning and building a business, right? There's that masculine, like get this work done. And a lot of time we talk about doing your work, right? But there's that creative aspect, that real nurturing aspect of that creativity. And I love what she did. You know, she was really trying to create the next step in her business, right? The really expansion of her business. And she went on a trip to Hawaii and she took a painting class, and she really tapped into that creativity and then came back from that space of creativity and is building something absolutely amazing. So just another example of how important it is to cross-contaminate. So I want you to write down right now, what other areas of or things can you do that might spark the creativity that you're looking for? So make a list. Awesome. Okay. Next one, key number 5, believe what's in the box. Okay, you guys, again, how do we unlock that creativity that's inside of you? And I really thought about, okay, what is that last key? And I really believe that key is to believe. Believe that when you unlock what's inside, you know that there is something worth unlocking, that creativity is already inside of you. And I truly, truly believe this. You were born with a divine ability to create. It is your right. It is your privilege. You are here to create amazing things. And I think that when you truly believe this, that you are going to think about it every day when you wake up, and remember that that it's worth the time, the energy, the work to create. And that as you do, you really step in to this divine calling that's inside of you, you know, this divine purpose that I talk about. And whatever that is to you, and I think that it changes. You know, I think about what I'm creating today is not going to be what I'm creating in 10 years from now, nor was it what I did 10 years ago in ways of creating and expressing my divine creativity, right? 10 years ago, I was really, I think I was making kids musical yoga. I was making fairy wings and kids yoga video songs and moving my body and expressing it that way. And now I'm helping people create, six-figure businesses. So it's different, right? But when we continuously tap in, I believe that's that little piece of divine within each one of us. I want to say that you don't need permission. And Elizabeth Gilbert mentions that in her book, and I love that, and I've always thought that. You don't need permission to create. You don't need to put expectations on yourself of what you need to create, right? You don't need the praise of other people to create. Sometimes we think, even when I help people create businesses, right? Or you want to come from a place that you just like doing it. Come from that place of that desire and that passion. If you're just doing something for the praise of others, it's going to get old. It's not going to fill you up like when you're creating just because you love to create and you love to do it. So don't do it for the praise. Don't do it for the six figures, right? Six figures will come when you love creating whatever it is that you love to create. And I put no reason. Create something for no reason at all, right? Sometimes we used to do it almost every Friday night, but as our kids are getting older, we love just to sit down and paint for no reason at all. Obviously, we're not artists, but we just do it because it's fun. It's fun to see what comes out of our minds and our abilities, right? It's just fun. So if you take nothing out of our time together, I really want you to take this key. Believe what's inside of you. And that is my last key. I want to end with a quote from Stephen Pressfield. Never forget, this very moment we can change our lives. There never was a moment, and there never will be, when we are without the power to alter our destiny. Creative work is not a selfish act or a bid for attention on the part of the actor. It's a gift to the world and every being in it. Don't cheat us of your contribution. Give us what you've got. So today I want you to choose to believe. Give us what you've got. Be the creator that you were born to be. What will you create? So we asked that question before, but I'm going to ask it again. After really believing in yourself, what do you want to create? Are you ready to open your mind to your genius ideas, to rediscover and reawaken your creative talents, gifts? Do you want to create clarity, right? I think that comes with that clarity of your purpose, your mission, your message, the words that you want to use to describe what you're putting out into the world. Are you ready to put in place the daily actions you need to exercise, right? To exercise and cultivate your creativity. Do you need to set your alarm an hour earlier? Do you need to schedule time? Do you need to take a day, get a babysitter, clean your space, make a space to create? Do you need to just go get the materials and put them around you? What do you need to do to create the daily actions to create? Are you ready to courageously share your creativity with the world? And are you willing to do what it takes to put your creativity, your work of art, whatever that is, and put it out there? Get ready. To unlock your creativity. And I was really thinking about what I want to share, what I could offer you to really help you unlock your creativity. And today I just want to offer you a mini VIP day with me. And stay with me because I'm giving you my Black Friday deal. So let me tell you what you're going to get. A mini VIP day. So that's going to be a 90-minute one-on-one with me in the next 30 days. So I really want to get you ready to go for 2016. If there's anything that we talked about that I can help you with to really unlock, brainstorm, There's so much power when it comes just talking things out and sparking that creativity. You're also going to get email access to me for 2 weeks, so we can go back. I really want to stay with you, make sure, hold you accountable for what we talked about and what we put in place for you. So we kind of went all over that. You know, you need that if you're ready to do one of those things. And you know that you can feel that energy in your heart, that desire that you want, if this is for you. So here it is, mini VIP day, 90-minute one-on-one with me in the next 30 days, email access for 2 weeks. The value, again, is, you know, $729. Even at a steal, when I do offer this at $297, but my big Black Friday price is $97. And if you've tried to work with me before, you know my pricing, that is just a crazy steal. But I hope, you know, I really wanted to make it so irresistible because I want you to put your creativity into the world. I really want you to unlock this. Because of that low price, I do only have 5 spots available. And here's what you need to do to make sure you're one of the first 5, Andrea@inspiremetobe.com. So please go to that email, Andrea@inspiremetobe.com, and say, I want a spot. I'll send you the link. We'll get you ready to go. And ready to unlock your creativity. Or there should be a button. Again, we've had a little bit of technical difficulties. One of the reasons why I just want to fine tune this for you guys, but there should be a button. Maybe my amazing assistant Reza can tell me if there's that button there. And you can click on that and get access to that mini VIP day right away. Here's just a quick quote from Tara. Working with Andrea gave me the clarity about my program. She was able to dissect what I really wanted to teach and create a plan. There's that plan part, right? The plan that resonated with me. That excitement about my program and clarity translates to more sales. In fact, she hit multiple 6 figures as we worked on her, you know, really bringing out her creative juices, really what the power of what she teaches. And she's, you know, really looking, she'll probably hit her million mark in 2016. I love carving out the time to work with her each month, since I know we brainstorm content. See, that's a big part of really pulling out that creativity within you. It gives me peace of mind. I highly recommend, Andrea. Thank you, Tara. What will it take for you to unlock your creativity? What's it going to take to really, and not just a one-time thing, right? To really start to live a creative life on a daily basis. What will it feel like? Again, I had you write it down at the beginning of this call. What will it feel like when you have that creative juice flowing through you on a daily basis? Here's again what to do. Click the box on the right side and be one of the first 5 to secure a mini VIP day with me for only $97, or email me at Andrea@inspiremetobe.com. You're going to get me and so much more. So say yes and unlock your creative life. Okay, you guys, I want to see if we can do a Q&A. So I'm going to go back and see if I can stop screen sharing. Hi, I'm back. Sorry you guys had to look at me that whole time when I was reading my slides. So I want to see if there's any questions that can come in. I'm going to try and go over to our chat box and see if there's any questions. If we, let me see, if you put your questions in here. Let's see if this works. All right. So type in your questions. I'm going to ask, see if we are getting any questions, but I do want to answer one question that came up that I was asked recently in regards to creative, and I'm going to answer it. Can you see? Big Magic. Get this book. It's awesome. Okay, so here was, oh, no, did I lose my spot? Okay, so someone asked this question. Okay, so someone was talking to me, they asked it in a different way, but she answers it here. So I'm going to say, you know, what if I'm not that creative, right? I'm not making this huge difference, you know, or maybe I don't really have the skills and talents, you know, that other people have, or I'm not really a creative person. So these are the kind of questions that kind of can be related. So she, question of, what if I'm not great, right? And she says, honestly, you guys, I don't really care if you're not great, right? I can't even be bothered to think about the difference between high art and low art, right? Like great art or not very great art. I'll fall asleep with my face in my dinner plate if someone starts discoursing me about the academic distinction between true mastery and mere craft. I certainly don't ever want to confidently announce that this person is destined to become an important artist. Well, that person should just give it up. How do I know? How does anyone know? It's all so wildly subjective. And anyhow, life has surprised me too many times in this realm. On one hand, I've known brilliant people who created absolutely nothing from their talent. And on the other hand, there are people whom I once arrogantly dismissed who later staggered me with the gravity and beauty of their work. So I love that. I don't think that we have to think that we're great artists to just start to go out there and create. And, you know, I had another thought that came up. So you might even be here on this call. One of my dear friends that I got to know on my little girls' night out last Friday. And, you know, I talked to her. We were actually in this art studio. There's art everywhere. And I'm having this conversation and she's saying, you know, I'm not really creative. Maybe I need you to help me find what I'm creative. Like, what am I creative at? I'm not a creative person. You know, what do I love to create? So I said, oh yeah, I'm going to help you. We're going to, you know, really dive deep into to really discover what you like to create. Well, meantime, right, she has gone to this place and there was these Christmas ornaments all over hanging, and she started to go through hundreds of these gorgeous ornaments and pick and select, you know, all these different ones. And they were quite diverse, what she selected, right? And she recently just sent me how she hung with ribbons all of her different selected ornaments across her ceiling, dripping down. It was the most beautiful piece of art. And I'm thinking, find your creativity. While we're sitting there, she was creating. She made a masterpiece within that moment while we were thinking about and having this conversation about how she's not creative at all. So if you're listening, I just want you to think that, hear me say that you are amazingly creative. And for anyone else that has questions, I'm not sure that we're getting it to work, but I'd love, love, love to answer your questions. Even if I need to jump on and do a 15-minute answer your question, I'd love to do that for you. So email me your question at Andrea@inspireme, the number 2, the letter B.com. And thank you for joining me for the Unlock Your Creativity webinar. And I hope to hear from you again. There's just those 5 spots open. So please claim your spot right away and let's get started. Okay, bye-bye.